Hi, I'm Michi, and welcome back to Daily Reflections. Last time we've been talking about why words matter, and today's topic will be my daily checklist. All right, let's give it a start. Like the first time I've really consciously heard about that idea was in an interview that I've listened to with Marshall Goldsmith. I'll post the link afterwards. And he tells that story that first of all he's coaching professionals, and he uses that tool, that daily checklist, and he gives it to them so that they can use it to evaluate their life, basically. And he tells that story that even he himself is doing it, and it's one of the hardest things you can possibly do. And that's why he gets every evening, whether it's true or not, but the story goes like that. Every evening, he gets a call from his coach and gets asked those 10 different questions and how he did based on those questions today. And with that interview and then with the explanation of how to use that tool and how it's beneficial or could be beneficial for me, I decided to incorporate that into my life. So let's have a look into what the daily checklist is. And it's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. What I basically did, and maybe it's a reiteration of what it originally was, but what I basically did is I set up those 10 different categories, those 10 different questions that I believe are the most important for me, for my life, for my daily being. And every day I try to evaluate myself in the evening on how have I been doing based on those values. So it's really pretty simple, it's straightforward. And yes, those values can change over time, but there's this bigger idea around it. And I'll explain out to you what I mean by that. First of all, just to get that straight, I was not scared, but I thought of it like a really big thing to do. I mean, every day sitting down and trying to evaluate your day based on a couple of questions, that sounds like a really big thing to do, like a big task, time consuming. But I figured out pretty quickly that it's not, because it really literally takes around 1 to 2 minutes to do that. And yes, sometimes I forget about it, but usually, and once you've done it for a couple of weeks, it becomes kind of a habit. Um, but then I also had like second thoughts, because it's really hard to be very consistent in your evaluation. So for each questions, I thought about having a really good definition of at which point do I get a 3, at which point do I get a 7. But I skipped that idea, got rid of it. And what I'm doing today is I have those 10 different questions, those different categories. And I just try to come up with a number that feels good. And it has two or maybe three main benefits. So, first of all, I get to reflect on my day. So, in the evening, it's 8 p.m., and I get to go back into the morning, walk through my day, and remember the different instances, the different touch points with people, the different experiences I had, how I dealt with them, and evaluate based on that reflection how I did today. And one of the things I consider is how open were I today? Like, how open were I towards other people? And now you can see that can vary from day to day, like what my personal definition of openness is. But that's not a problem. Because, yes, one benefit of it is getting real numeric feedback on how you're doing. And also depends on your me personally, but I very rarely score a 10 because I'm probably a bit too self critical. But it gives you a number that tells you what, or tells me what did I think on how well did I today. Which, of course, adds up throughout the weeks, throughout the months, and once a month, several times throughout the year, I'll check what are my results. How is it increasing? Is it decreasing? What could be the reasons? So it helps me also to have some real statistical numeric feedback on how I'm doing. But then it also has another benefit with all that inconsistency. It has the benefit that I get to, and I already said that, remember and reflect on my day based on my values, based on the values that I personally define. And that's another benefit. That's the other thing, except for how well did I do today, is a reminder of what's really important for me as a person. And I get that feedback, that reminder on a daily basis. So it really becomes a very inherent feature of me, of my daily life. So over time, and I experienced that, is that I didn't only reflect and think about those values at the end of the day, but it becomes a habit to also think about it in the moment, in a new setting, with new people. Like, hey, I said that one of my values is being open, and I have this thing ahead of me. I meet new people. What does it mean to be open? And do I have the energy to do it today, to be it? So that's the other really valuable feedback. And then, of course, those values change over time. It's not really static, but after a while, I realize that either I formulated it in a not so helpful way, or I'd like to replace it with something that I realized is actually much more important to me. And then life changes, and of course, other things can become more important. So I'd also see, or I do see it in a very flexible way. But in a nutshell, it's something I'm doing now for quite a while, probably 1 or 2 years. I actually could look it up, but I really got so much value out of it, which with so little investment, that I will definitely keep doing it. And maybe one outlook, what I'm thinking about right now, is also like doing it in the morning in addition. So I have my set of values, and in the morning, first thing I do, like, that's the idea. I'm not doing it right now, but first thing in the morning when I get up is I check what I've defined for myself is important to me, whether I have the energy and the motivation to actually live up to those values. Also, thinking about what I can do to ensure that I will respect those values throughout the day. But also, and that's now the new idea, is to come up with some expectations for my day, like putting down numbers on how well do I think that I can, based on my schedule, based on my energy level, based on my mood, how well do I think I will do today in those different categories. And then in the evening, I'll get to check in and see what I think, how I really did, and can compare that and get some additional feedback, some additional insights into my daily life. And we've talked about accumulation already because it really matters long term how I do on a daily basis. And that's really it. Maybe I have some more thoughts around that in the future. I hope you like the idea. Think about it. Again, I'll also post the link to the interview with Goldsmith. Have a look. Maybe you like it. Let me know. And next time, I'd like to talk about the reason why I stopped watching movies for good. Stay tuned. I'm looking forward to seeing you again. And have a nice day or evening or whatever you're up to. Take care. Bye.